The forum will be open for questions and answers later, so kindly post your queries in the chat box only.
A very good afternoon to one and all present here. I, Amisha, on behalf of the Institution's Innovation Council of Shaheed Rajguru College of Applied Sciences for Women, University of Delhi, would like to extend my profound and earnest welcome to Ms. Shivi Sabharwal and Ms. Lehar Malhotra, the speakers for today's webinar. I would also like to extend a wholehearted welcome to our esteemed principal, Ma'am, Dr. Payal Mago, and the President of IIC, Dr. Ranjana Singh. I would like to extend a sincere and heartfelt welcome to all the scholarly and knowledgeable teachers and to all the thoughtful and attentive audience present here. We are truly humbled beyond measure for such an overwhelming response.
Steve Jobs has once said, "Let's invent tomorrow instead of worrying about what happened yesterday." As technology improves every day, new developments are constantly infiltrating our lives. Whether it's the way you shop, how you communicate with friends, the job you do, or the way you travel, technology is transforming the way we behave. Healthcare is no exception. Breakthroughs in information gathering, research, treatments, and communications have given medical providers new tools to work with and fresh ways to practice medicine. So, to illuminate you about the role of technology in preventive care, the Center for Multidisciplinary Research, Innovation and Entrepreneurship and Institution Innovation Council of Shaheed Rajguru College brings to you a highly informative and interesting webinar on the topic Technology Innovations to Achieve Preventive Care.
We are glad to have Ms. Shivi Sabharwal and Ms. Lehar Malhotra as speakers for today's session. Ms. Shivi is the co-founder and director of Wellness Mandala. She has done her post-graduation in marketing from Lancaster University, UK. Ms. Lehar is a counseling psychologist. She has done her post-graduation in applied psychology from TISS Mumbai, and she is the emotional coach at Wellness Mandala. We would now like to welcome Ms. Shivi Sabharwal and Ms. Lehar Malhotra, who will enlighten us about how the innovation in technology has helped achieve preventive care.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Hope you're all doing great. Truly excited to be amongst all the respected faculty members and the bright young minds of Shaheed Rajguru College. Thank you for inviting us to this session, which is Technology Innovations to Achieve Preventive Care. It actually gives me great joy to showcase our comprehensive wellness product to you, which is called Wellness Mandala. We have now abbreviated to wellm. And in fact, I'm truly excited to be here and presented this product to you guys who are actually going to be shaping the future of our healthcare system. So, as introduced, my name is Shivi Sabharwal, and I'm one of the co-founders of Wellness Mandala. Along with me today on this session, I also have my very dear colleague, Lehar Malhotra, and she is a very able counseling psychologist, and also the key contributor who has worked tirelessly in shaping up our emotional well-being tool, which we call it as Joycare, JC. Now, in this session, while I'll be taking you, through a quick understanding of the entire product and how we built it, Lehar can give you a detail about how we basically came upon the JC product. Now, let me start from the very beginning. So, wellm is actually a pandemic baby. It was born about a year and a half ago. I, along with my other co-founder, Rakesh Sareen, fondly known as RS, we both belong to the corporate sector. So while I, have worked in companies such as Universal Music, NDTV, also handling my family business, RS has been at the helm of managing multi-million-dollar companies, leading it from the forefront. And this is, taking back to the first wave of COVID. So we were badly affected in the first wave of COVID. And something we realized together is that you can live without everything, right? You can live without your shopping, you can live without going out, eating. But there's one thing that you cannot live without, which is health. Health is something that no one should compromise on. It's imperative that we don't just react to our problems, when we face the health challenges. But it's important to understand the early markers, the early detectors, right? And especially not just the early detectors of your physical well-being, but extremely important. I think in pandemic, we all realized that it was not just impacting our health physically, but mentally, we were all going through, we all were going through what? So it's very important to basically not just react to health, but to have detection of these early markers. And that kind of gave us an idea of coming up with a product, a very comprehensive offering, which is Wellness Mandala. So what I'm going to do is I'll quickly take you through a presentation. If I can share my screen. Okay. I hope everybody is able to see my screen.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am, it's visible.
So about wellm, the entire philosophy is that we want to help people lead a healthier and a happier life. And we do this through proactive diagnosis of their physical and extremely important, their emotional health, emotional well-being. So now once we have an understanding of how they are currently, we then provide very, very extremely targeted advisory to them, which actually comes from the base of self-care practices. Because if you start taking care of yourself, a lot of problems basically get eliminated. So, and self-care is also extremely important if you want to sustain your health for a long time. So currently we are focusing on the B2B market. Both being from the corporate background, I think we understand that when you're working, you honestly give your health, wellness, a back seat, and everything else takes the front seat. And you have very limited time to kind of, focus on your health. But to organizations also, it's very important in order to increase their efficiency, their productivity, we must have some good employee well-being programs which can further the cause of good health amongst the employees and spread a culture of health and wellness within the organization also. What it also does is that it helps you increase the entire overall productivity and efficiency of the company. It also reduces cost and of course, booms the organization growth as well. Our mission, we like to bring our deeply rooted tradition and culture that is natural and scientifically proven to the forefront in creating its relevance in modern day healthy living. So what we've done is we've basically done a lot of research on this topic and we've realized that it is good to go back to nature. It is good to ask for help from nature. So we have the philosophy of natural laws of wellness, which I'll explain in the later part of the presentation. We are a chemical-free company. We believe nature has the power to heal everything. And that's where the basis of our advisory starts from. Now, our vision is to be the most trusted wellness solution provider and enable an ecosystem of self-care. So anything and everything that you need for your self-care practices should be available on our platform. Now, if I just take account of what currently is happening, anxiety and sickness is on increase. I think nobody would agree with me more than you guys. Also, I think there was an article in Times of India yesterday where it said anxiety is actually the top word used by kids from the age group of 7 to 14 when you talk about their health and wellness, which is such a sorry state. So anxiety is not just affecting kids, it's affecting, of course, all the age groups. And anxiety is also the main cause of many chronic, lifestyle disorders. And lifestyle disorders, chronic disorders are actually on a greater high now. Now, the problem with this is, and especially with India, is that so far the approach to health has always been reactive. So when you fall sick is when you basically, want to know your blood parameters. You want to see if there's anything else happening in the body. What can I do right now to take care of the situation? But people don't think about adopting to healthy lifestyle measures so that they do not come to, this sort of situation where they then have to get into the rigmaroles of hospitals and doctors. Of course, the third parameter is the medical cost. We all know once you step into the hospital, it takes away a lot from your bank, right? And the medical costs are skyrocketing. No matter how much work has been done in the infrastructure, people are still falling sick, and that's how it's going to be. So that's the problem area that we are facing right now. Now, to come up with solution, we thought that first and foremost, as a company, we need to start creating awareness for self-care. Self-care awareness is an important plug to a multi-pronged approach, right? You start taking care of yourself, you start taking care of your lifestyle. A lot of chronic lifestyle disorders will not even touch you, but the awareness is very important. Secondly, what we wanted to do is to offer a very comprehensive, a platform to everyone. Technology is on a rise. Everybody's on the go. So we should have something which is easy to access, to use, which is extremely comprehensive in its nature. And that's what we basically built on. So we built a very, very robust technology platform where all your reports, your assessments, anything that you need to know about your health and wellness is there on that one single platform. And third, what we wanted to offer as a solution is an ecosystem, as I had mentioned, for self-care. So we basically want to give a stamp of wellm approval to all the products which fall under the category of self-care. Now, in self-care, since we follow the natural laws of wellness, which I'll explain, your air, water, sunlight, a lot of these elements kind of fall into place. So in the future, that's the vision of the company, that any product or service that falls under these things of air, water, sunlight should be available on the wellness platform as well. Now, quickly jumping on to how do we do this, right? So the approach that we follow as Wellness Mandala is first and foremost, if you want to treat a problem, you cannot just treat it from the surface, right? If somebody is I mean, in your psychology also, I think you take about 1, 2, or 3 sessions to kind of understand ki acha problem yahan hai. This is the problem area that I really have to pinpoint and work on. So assessment is extremely important, which is where I feel India somewhere was sort of lagging behind. So what we have done is we have developed a very, very unique assessment tool for self-care, for emotional well-being, and for physical well-being. Now, once we have an idea of where the problem is, then we come to the solution part of it. So we provide you a very, very detailed, comprehensive report, which again is there on our on our tech platform. We also call it the Customer Wellness Suite, and I'll take you through it in the coming minutes. So once you have the report, then our team of able doctors, psychologists like Lehar, nutritionists, fitness experts, all these people actually go through each and every report and then provide extremely targeted and specific advice to every individual, which is in the shape of their diet charts, their fitness chart, emotional well-being practices that they can do every day. And the fourth step is, which is actually a very critical step, is how do you sustain well-being? Now that you know that there is a problem which you need to sort of fix, people find it very difficult to follow it through. Hence, as a company, we are very, very serious about what kind of programs can we build within the system, which motivates people to follow it through the entire journey. So we have a 100-day program. We do assessment at the start of the program, and then we also want to show how the progress has been. So we do an assessment at the end of the 100-day program. In between, we handhold you through WhatsApp messages, through a lot of other product integration. We also actually develop, because of these natural laws of wellness, we develop a ritual for everybody, which is simple and easy to follow. And this is how we motivate people and handhold them throughout their journey of well-being. Now, in order to pinpoint where the problem is, we did a lot of research. What should be your starting point? What should you assess in order to understand where the problem is, whether it's emotional or whether it's physical. And after doing a lot of research in this area, we figured that there are these 5 touch points that you need to assess if you have to actually know what the root cause is. So the first touch point is self-care. So what we do is we have, again, an assessment that people can take online. It's a 20-question form, but it gives you a complete picture of how your lifestyle is. What kind of lifestyle do you follow in adherence to the natural laws of wellness. Then it's Joycare. We do another assessment of the psychometric test. Third is FitCare, where we do a complete assessment of your fitness parameters. Fourth is a very unique assessment that we do, which is Vital Care, and it gives you a complete picture of your vital organ health. And the fifth is Hemocare, wherein we assess the entire blood analysis. So what gets covered under self-care? Self-care, which is actually at the apex of it all, right? You start taking care of yourself, you start taking care of your lifestyle, a lot of problems kind of get away. So we, through the form of those questionnaires, try and understand what kind of lifestyle are you following? Are you following on the north of your health or the south of the health? Where exactly are you? And what can we do to improve it, right? Basis these laws of wellness. So there are air, water, nutrition, exercise, rest, healthy spaces, trust, and self-discipline. They sound very simple, that yes, it's abundantly available, but are you actually using it to its optimal level? Are you actually, they say sunlight, you should take it in the wee hours in the morning. Also, it's important to wear light clothes so that your body absorbs more of sunlight. Now, sunlight to a lot of people only gives vitamin D, but I think you guys would know more that it also gives you serotonin, increases serotonin in your body, which is so important for your emotional well-being. So we give a very good understanding of all these parameters because we feel your body is interconnected, right? You don't just get a headache because you're out in the sun, but you can also get a headache because you're not drinking enough water. So we find those kind of correlations. So it starts with self-care, a quick 5 minutes form to fill on the website itself. Second, we jump into Joycare. Joycare is a psychometric test that we have designed. Of course, Lehar has been an integral part of it, and she, along with another member of our team, plus Dr. N.K. Chadda, who's a globally renowned psychometrician also. I'm sure a lot of people, a lot of people here would know him. So they have designed this very unique psychometric test. Lehar would dwell more into it. But just to give you a quick cap, it basically covers these 5 broad baskets, which are relational well-being, life outlook, perceived personal growth, perception of self, and emotional experiences. And this is one of its kind assessment that has been designed, specially keeping Indian sensibilities in mind. Again, an assessment that you can quickly take on the platform. It's about 35 questions and takes about 10 odd minutes to finish the entire assessment. The third is FitCare, again, a digitally taken assessment. There are certain set of questions which will help us in understanding what are your physical parameters and any pre-existing issues that you might have. Now, for the fourth one, which is Vital Care, which is very different, unique in its own self, especially with India. It's a small portable machine that we have imported from US. And this machine can actually give you a very detailed scan of your vital organ health. So it actually covers parameters such as serotonin, dopamine, SpO2 level, are you sleep deprived or not, anxiety, lot of these things which actually don't get covered in your typical blood analysis. The 3 important markers, which is lifestyle, autonomic nervous system, and vascular function, is what it covers. And the detail, the list is actually quite detailed, so I will not go through it. But to any psychologist also, it becomes a very good, how do I say, like a picture into what exactly is happening, not just in the physical realm, but in the mental realm inside the body, right? So if you know about the serotonin level, melatonin, all these dopamine level, you actually know that these are also the markers that are impacting one's emotional health. So this machine takes about, again, 10 odd minutes. But for this, we have to go to the organizations and set up a camp. And in 10 odd minutes, it's able to give you a very detailed report about your vital organ health. Not just current, but it also gives you a view of your future parameters. So things such as diabetes or thyroid, which could be affecting you in 5 to 6 years down the line, it gives you a very clear understanding that, boss, you're moving at the south of your health. And this is the time when you should start taking preventive care measures. The fifth one is Hemocare. Here we have tied up with pathology lab partners and we do a complete blood analysis. There are about 63 parameters that we cover: HbA1c, liver, kidney function, lipid profile, so on and so forth. A typical blood analysis, which is widely accepted, especially in India. If we want to actually see is your health doing well or not, the first thing that you do is you actually do your blood test. So this was also a very good feature to have to validate that, yes, what the machine is saying or whatever is happening inside your body actually confirms with your blood test as well. For this as well, we like the vital care assessment, we set up a camp at the organization. So while the first 3 happens digitally, these 2 happens when we go and set up a camp at the organization. Now, this actually what you see in front of you is the customer wellness suite. And I would quickly like to just take you through the demo suite so you understand what all gets covered here. So that's the website. Now, as a process, we basically send separate user IDs and links to to everybody in the organization. We take care of data privacy issue. So the data of an individual is actually not shared with the HR. And you log in with your ID. And once you have done the assessments, then you will get an email note that your reports and an advisory is available on your personal wellness suite. And this is how it kind of looks like. So you have your score here. Now you have all your individual scores down below. On your score on top, you'll be able to see your score. You'll also be able to see the company's average score. Then if you need to see it in detail, you click on View Full Report. And it takes you to your report and advisory page. Now here you'll be able to see what is your current state of emotional and physical well-being. You're able to actually see what are the areas where you need attention. So here are all the need attention areas: air, water, sunlight. If I just quickly take you through one report, I don't think we have a lot of time to go through everything, but let's say I take you through the Joycare report because that's more relevant here. And the JC report actually gives you a very beautiful picture of what exactly is happening inside your mind. It's an overview. It also gives you these 5 broad buckets. Where do you stand? What does it mean? How does it not just impact your emotional health, but also how it impacts your physical health? So for example, the person of this typical profile, would probably face chronic conditions such as diabetes, hypertension, amongst others. It's a very detailed, comprehensive report, so I will not really go through this, but I'm sure you'll understand as a psychologist, all this data is very important for you to pinpoint the problem. There is Fit Care report, there is Vital Care report, which lists down all the markers. And of course, there's Hemocare. Now, once we have established how you are doing in terms of your current health, then we come to the part where we give you recommendations of how you can improve it. Right? So our recommendation is in 2 parts. The first part of the recommendation, which is based on our philosophy of National Laws of Wellness. Now, these are all clickable links, very easy, very simple to understand, but very important to follow. How should you breathe? What time you should take water? How much water is important for your body? So what happens that, we all feel that, yes, for a woman, it's important to have 2.5 liters of water. So what we do, wake up in the morning, you have your bottle of water next to you, you finish 1 liter and you feel that, mera kafi time ke liye to time ho gaya hai. I don't have to really go back to water again. But that's not right. So your body can only digest 120 ml of water in a go. Hence, they tell you that please keep sipping water every half an hour or every 1 hour. It's very important because the first area where your body will basically, absorb or take water from you is actually your brain, right? So that's why, people suffer from headaches, migraines, because actually they're not drinking enough water. That could also be one of the reasons. So these are the recommendations we basically bring you. And the next step is when we actually give you your personalized advisory. So what happens is, another USP of our business is that we connect you with technology. What has happened in a lot of businesses, I feel, is that technology has overpowered everything. So everything for you is available on the app, you download and stuff. But that human connection, that human touch is somewhere lost. And we wanted to retain that when we were designing our business model. So what we've done is, once we give you the reports, then we give you an opportunity to book your complimentary coaching call with our wellm coach. Once you speak to the wellm coach, then along with the wellm coach, you can co-create your wellness journey. He will also have an entire timetable, as I was talking about, the rituals. So he will also have the rituals in front. He will see what you can adapt, what you can follow, and give you a very comprehensive plan. You take a printout, you stick it up wherever you want, whichever place you have to motivate you to, work on those markers. And then it plans your diet chart, fitness chart, emotional well-being exercises that you can do. For example, anxiety. So I'm not going to click through this, but this is actually your own personalized diet, fitness, and emotional well-being charts here. Bases your report. So whatever comes in your report, it reflects in your advisory as well. And then you book your coaching call. Now, sticking to our idea of providing entire ecosystem, we have also tied up with some really great companies who provide natural products, since we are chemical free, to whatever conditions that are mentioned in. So we basically map those conditions and then we reflect the products here. This is the entire fitness regime. We've shot all the videos. So there's yoga and there are other fitness videos here. We also believe technology plays a big role. Of course, it plays a big role in promoting good health, but it also, I think, if used adversely, it affects your health as well. So we have tied up with Environics, another company, who keeps the radiation away. So there's some great products that we basically showcase here. And then you come to your personal library. Anything that you need to know about your health, wellness is also published here. So it's a very comprehensive platform. You really don't have to go anywhere to look for information about your health and wellness. There's Briefcase, where you can put your past reports, have any other information that you want to read onto later. So won't dwell much into it, but that's the platform that I was excited to show you guys. Going back to the presentation. So while that is for the customers, now for an organization, it's very important to see is this program working for me or not? So what we've done is we provided a corporate wellness chart, which actually comes with your analytics and your tracker. So for an organization, you're actually able to see where is the self-care, Joycare, FitCare, Vital Care, and Hemocare, the entire thing for the organization. So you're able to basically also categorize according to the departments, according to subcategory. If you want to see, what's the wellness score of just my managers, or what's the wellness score of just my sales team, which area has been impacted the most. So all that dissection basically can be done here, and a complete report is provided. And since we do 2 assessments, and any organization is able to actually map whether the program has worked for them or not, and which area do they need more focus. Also, basis that, since we do the Joycare assessment, basis that we also provide corporate coaching programs. Now, for instance, we are doing this for Honda, and they feel that, the Joycare has been impacted badly for their blue collar employees. And they need more help in terms of understanding what is anxiety and stuff. So actually, Lehar is running a program for Honda, wherein she's giving them workshop around anxiety, relationships, boundaries and stuff. So that's also one domain that we cover. These are, of course, the services that we have, which is self-care, Joycare. These are the programs. And depending on the need of the organization, they can pick and choose, whatever they want. Plus, we also provide one-on-one coaching. So while the programs usually are taken care by the corporates, the one-on-one coaching is something that people do personally. So Lehar has been instrumental in driving the emotional well-being coaching program. We also have the lifestyle disorder management programs, wherein you get more approach to your coach, and they handhold you throughout the journey. You speak to them on regular intervals, and we make sure that whatever the problem is being tackled beautifully. So that's about the platform. If I just have to sum it up, our entire approach is on self-care. The awareness of self-care is very important, and that's what our main focus is on. Of course, we provide non-invasive assessment of emotional and physical well-being, which is again a very strong area. Assessment is extremely critical to know what you have to work on. Third, we don't just carpet bomb everyone with the same advice. Our advice is very, very targeted. And fourthly, of course, the customer engagement piece, wherein we try and see how we can keep people on track of their well-being. So for that also, we have many engagement programs that we delve into. And we truly feel, such kind of preventive care programs are extremely essential for whether it's an individual, whether you're a family member, whether it's an organization, but all these things to detect early markers and then work on your early markers, work on your lifestyle, work on your self-care, give yourself that time. It's so important to enhance, your joy, your growth, and your productivity. So that's I just wanted to share this platform with you. I think I'll hand over to Lehar now. And Lehar, if you could take them through the entire JC, please.
Yes.
Any questions
Thank you,
that you have, we can refer, towards the end of the program, if that's okay with
yes. Okay. Thank you, Shivi. So first of all, before we really delve into the presentation, how many of you are from the background of psychology? Oh, okay. So I'm guessing there's, a lot of you. Okay. So can anyone tell me roughly what is the average time you take to conduct a mental health assessment or a test? So it can be RSPM or Wechsler's Adult Intelligence Scale, HSPQ if you've done it. You can unmute yourselves and tell me what is the average amount of time that you take to conduct an assessment.
We are from first year, so we haven't done it yet.
Okay, all right. But any rough idea? Anything's fine. At least half an hour. Okay. Any more guesses?
45 minutes.
Yes. Yes. So most of our psychometric assessments, especially those that are really good assessments, very in depth, they take around at least 45 minutes to 1 hour, right? But now what we have done on this platform is that one, we have reduced the load on the psychologist because everything is based on the tech. We have put all the items on an online platform. So the psychologist does not have to really do the assessment. We just have to share the link with the client. They can fill in their so we have two versions of the assessment. One is the advanced version, which takes 20 minutes, and one is the lighter version, which takes 10 minutes. So now imagine the kind of assessments or the number of assessments we can do across different countries. Even for now, we're just doing it in India. So you can access this one assessment across India as of now. And I think the psychologist has to spend 5 minutes. How many of you have done any kind of report writing for a psychological assessment? Anyone? Has anyone written any report for a psychology assessment? Any of you who had psychology in school? How long does it take? Okay, anyone? A number? How long does it take? You can unmute yourselves. It took me, at least when I was in school, at least 2 hours to write one assessment report. You know how long it takes for our platform to generate the report? 3 minutes. So what we're doing is mental health needs to be expanded a lot. I think our ratio of psychologists to clients is not very great. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to use the technology to expand the reach of mental health services to a lot of individuals. Now, what makes this platform, Wellness Mandala, also special for me is I'll just show you this. Is that not only are we looking at mental health assessments and interventions, we're also looking at holistic wellness. Now, a lot of times when we as psychologists see health, we talk about mental health assessments, we talk about mental health interventions, we talk about anxiety, we talk about so many other mental health related concerns. But I don't think we can deny that physical health and mental health are both interdependent on each other. For example, when you think of lack of sleep, so what kind of, so some of you mentioned that you're first year psychology students. So when you look at insomnia or hypersomnia, a lot of times, we're, giving sleep hygiene as an intervention. We're talking about using CBT practices. But did you know that actually being in the sun increases one, melatonin production in the body, which helps you sleep. It also syncs your circadian rhythm, which helps you sleep better. And the sun also helps regulate our sleep patterns generally. So what we're saying is lack of sleep, which is a consequence, can have two parts of causes. One is physical and one is emotional. A lot of times it's also because of anxiety that there is a lack of sleep. So what we're saying is that maybe it's time to expand our horizons as psychologists to look at mental health interventions supported by physiological interventions. Now, devising more holistic interventions definitely creates a more sustainable impact on physical and mental health. So how many of you knew that serotonin actually is boosted by the sun, like Shivi said? Can I see some hands? How many of you already knew that before Shivi said it? Okay. Few of you are raising your hands. Great. So depression has one key neurochemical that plays a role is serotonin, right? So imagine that when we are giving our normal mental health interventions, we're also recommending that, your serotonin can be boosted by sitting in the sun for 20 minutes. Is it, And it also helps reduce the amount of SSRIs that a person might have to take to boost their serotonin, right? So this is what we're looking at. We're trying to create mental health interventions in a supported by physiological interventions. Now, even when you look at the role of community when it comes to mental health, community has to play a huge, huge role in mental health. Now, how many of you have heard of belly breathing being recommended for anxiety? Can I see some hands? Do you know what belly breathing is? Okay. Okay. So belly breathing is just one of the practices that, so someone says no. So that's why I'm explaining. Belly breathing is one of the practices that is recommended to reduce anxiety. And when we talk about belly breathing, we talk about, you should be stepping into fresh air. You should be going out to take a walk. I think it's also important to recognize that as a community, especially living in Delhi, the AQI is super bad. AQI is really bad. I think I'd sometimes rather just sit in my house to keep myself safe from the pollution. So we're also looking at what as a community we can do to contribute towards better physical and emotional health, right? So now if we look at here, so I think Shivi's talked extensively about Joycare. So this is one tool that we have developed for psychological well-being. So I think as psychology students, we already know that most of the psychometric assessments that are used currently in the clinical setup or generally are actually assessments that are developed in the West, and they are adapted to the Indian context. How many of you would you agree with me? You can raise your hands. Yes. So be it Wechsler's Adult Intelligence Scale, be it RSPM, be it HSPQ, most of the assessments that I learned, when I was in school or when I was doing my undergrad or postgrad, most of the assessments were in fact Western assessments adapted to our context. Now we all know the cultural impact that it has on our mental health, right? So it's so important that we should have our own assessments, because our assessments take into consideration the cultural nuances that most other assessments who are built for the Western context do not. So Joycare is one of the few tools which are developed in India for the Indian population. Now, I have to mention that it's not a diagnostic tool. We're not saying it will do any kind of diagnosis. But what we're saying is that this is an assessment that offers insight into the state of current psychological health. So we're saying that it calls attention to emotional distress before it can escalate into something severe. I think as a practitioner, this has been my personal experience that a person will come to me when they're in dire need of help. They will not, come to me when they're, starting to face some conditions or starting to, Acha, abhi, I'm sleeping, it's fine, it's just been a week, I haven't been able to sleep. So when it's a month when they're not able to sleep, that's when they will reach out to a general physician or a psychologist. So what we're doing now is we're trying to highlight the concerns that may develop in the future through Joycare. So we're looking at what is the self-esteem level of an individual, how confident they are, how are the health of their relationships. So a lot of these things we're assessing before they can escalate into more severe concerns. Now, we have also, in fact, done a lot of research. So if you remember, Shivi talked about 9 natural laws of wellness. So our self-care assessment is built upon these 9 laws. So what we did was, for a community psychology conference held at OP Jindal University, we presented this paper called Self-Care and Psychological Wellbeing, an Intercorrelational Paradigm, where we found that in fact self-care is very strongly linked to psychological well-being. That means that if you're practicing these 9 natural laws of wellness, it boosts your psychological well-being, and those individuals who have high psychological well-being levels in fact practice these 9 laws a lot. Now, another thing that I learned as a practitioner, that to help my clients enhance their psychological well-being, some things that I can recommend are these 9 natural laws of wellness that are easily available. So sometimes I just have to ask them to sit in the sun for 20 minutes. They might feel better, more enthusiastic, more energetic. They might be sleeping better because of that. And so even sleep and exercise are very strongly linked to our psychological well-being. So what is the one chemical that, neurochemical that our body releases when we exercise? You can put it on the chat if you know the answer.
Endomorphin,
And endomorphins and oxytocin?
serotonin.
Oxytocin and endorphins. Yes. So both of these neurochemicals are actually feel good chemicals that are definitely boosted after we exercise. So now, of course, and I think sleep is so important. We already know that hypersomnia and insomnia or sleep distress is one of the few starting things, that we look out for when we're trying to diagnose an individual for something, right? Especially for concerns like depression and anxiety. Depression may, the symptoms are, loss of appetite or increase in appetite. And the other is, would anyone like to add? Sleep. Either you're sleeping too much or you're
Lazy.
sleeping too less.
It
Yes.
could be laziness and not being able or कुछ भी करने का mood ना होना. Like just
Yes.
staying there all side and negative and unwanted thoughts.
Yes, exactly, right? So, what we're trying to say is that besides the current existing mental health interventions, we can do so much more. We can help. So, a lot of times, individuals with severe clinical disorders have to resort to psychiatric treatment, right? That is also important. But what we're trying to do is we're trying to create a space where we can reduce the amount of chemicals that a person has to intake. How many of you know the side effects of psychiatric medications that are used in, say, for depression, anxiety? Yeah, you can unmute yourself and talk to me. Any side effects that you currently know of?
It can be like बहुत ज़्यादा नींद आना,
Yes,
and
absolutely.
headaches
Yes,
and grumpy mood,
you
and
are
then yes, you
You're
can say that.
absolutely right. You're absolutely right. There's nausea, there's sleeping too much, there are headaches. Sometimes the medication is so heavy that the person might end up feeling drowsy the entire day. So what we're doing is that we're giving you small tactics that you can do to reduce that intake and that side effect. I think we all can acknowledge that any kind of medication we take also has an impact on our body. So through creating more holistic interventions, what we're doing is we're increasing our physical and emotional wellness, right? So we're also, in fact, doing more research. So currently we have our data on self-care. We're also collecting more data in terms of vital care. So has anyone read NCRT for 12th grade? Or I think was it 11th grade? How many of you had psychology in school? Anyone? Okay. So what was the third chapter in NCRT on in 11th grade? Can anyone remember? Or was it 12th? Sorry, it was 12th grade. Yeah. Can anyone remember what was the third chapter?
Meeting life challenges.
It was about
It was
stress.
about stress.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Unnati and Maliha. So it was about stress. Now, what part of our nervous system is most activated during stress? Can anyone tell me? Anyone? Does anyone remember reading that autonomic nervous system plays a very crucial role when it comes to stress? Someone said parasympathetic. Yes. So when you learn about the fight or flight mode or the relax and rest mode, which is the parasympathetic, we have a tool, like Shivi had already mentioned, that we imported from America, which gives us an overview of our, so one of the part that it gives an overview of is the autonomic nervous system. Now, autonomic nervous system, as you may know, has two parts. One is the sympathetic nervous system and one is the parasympathetic nervous system. Now, I think we can all agree that being in the pandemic for 2 years has definitely had a lot of damaging impact on all of us, be it physically, be it emotionally. Frankly, I got COVID twice, and it was not a fun experience at all. So I think that's why I think my autonomic nervous system may also have been impacted quite a bit. So now what this machine does, it gives you a picture of how well your parasympathetic or sympathetic nervous system is activated. So if my sympathetic nervous system is activated too much, then that means that there is too much of a wear and tear on my body because of the emotional distress that I may be feeling, right? Um, and I think we've already spoken about sunlight. So not only does the sun boost my vitamin D, it also boosts my serotonin and emotional health and the energy that I have the entire day. So what we're doing is we're trying to collect more data, and we're trying to find correlations between these aspects and the Joycare scores that we have received. So concluding this part of wellm, I would like to pass on the baton to Shivi to maybe take us through this new exciting app. Shivi?
Yes. So I think most of you would have really related well with Lehar's session, wherein she gave a deep insight into what exactly we are doing in the space of emotional well-being. And taking that a step further now, what we have done is, and I'm extremely excited about this aspect, is that we have actually acquired this app called Happy Minds, which actually is a mobile app to connect students with the right therapists, students who are actually looking for some emotional well-being connect. Also, let me tell you that this app has been developed by 2 students of IIT BHU, 2 extremely bright young students. And why, and I'm not going to talk too much about it because I think it'll take another session, but I just wanted to give you a slight glimpse into what the features of the app are. And I would love if you guys can download the app, start using it, because you will find it very relevant. This is an app which has been developed by Shashwat and Divyansh, 2 IIT BHU students. Why they did it also, it has a story behind it. While they were, of course, doing their course, a few of their very close friends were going through emotional turmoil. Out of that, one actually tried to commit suicide. And when you're going through so much emotional stress, at times you find it very difficult to even speak to your best friends, right? Because you feel, they're going to judge you. Mental well-being is still a stigma. Emotional turmoil, people see it as there's something wrong with him. Why is he seeking, therapy or emotional help? So people try to hide it under the carpet. I mean, we all know about it. Thankfully, now I think it's coming more out in the open, and people are accepting that, yes, you need to go and seek out therapy. But still, there is a large chunk who still would shy away from it. So while this happened, one of their friends tried to commit suicide, and when they came to know of it, that why couldn't that person share his feelings with us? They thought of creating an app wherein people who are going through emotional turmoil, who are going through stress, can anonymously go join the app. So the app has extremely cool features. So you can basically, when you log into the app, it's going to help you assess your mood. So it has a mood tracker. It will tell you, what kind of mood are you right now? Are you happy, joyful, sad, all that? It will also help you record, your feelings. So in a journal manner. And we all know in psychology how important is journaling, writing down your feelings. And it also, because, with our Wellness Mandala, the entire philosophy is that your emotional well-being is related to your physical well-being. So what it also does is that it actually counts your daily steps, calorie intakes and stuff. So we're trying to relate. Are you walking enough? Are you exercising enough? Because that also has impact. Soon enough, we are also developing really cool features, such as it's going to help you track your sleep. How is your sleep quality? Because sleep also has a very important role to play in your mental well-being. So there's going to be a mood tracker. There's, of course, a fitness tracker. Thirdly, very importantly, is that when you're going through emotional turmoil, you would like to be associated, talk to a community. People, you would like to see, am I the only one here, or no, there are many others who are sailing in the same boat. So it gives you that sort of reassurance that, hum akele nahi hai, and we can get through this. So this app actually gives you a community engagement feature. You can join the community, you can post your feelings, you can vent out your feelings. And the good part is that there are others there who can actually now comment on it. And you feel it's a safe space, because you don't have to really reveal your identity, but you can just simply talk your emotions out. And that actually makes you feel better. Half of the job is done when you bring it out on the table. Fourth, what it does is connecting with relevant therapists and tracking progress. There's some features that are now, we are trying to build in, and hopefully, I think by the end of this month, the app would be in a much more robust and mature shape. What we're trying to do is there'll be certain questions that will be asked when you join the app, and that will help us in linking you to the right therapist. So if there is anxiety, we basically, it's a platform where we are inviting therapists. So all future therapists, you will have an awesome space where you can also connect with the clients. So you will have features such as, you will have people can basically give you star ratings. You'll have your own bio. You'll have your own page, and then you can put your own, your fees on it, and then people who find you relevant, they will connect with you, and you can have your one-on-one therapy session. You'll also be able to track your therapy. You can share notes. So a lot of good stuff is happening there. It can be a great platform for any future therapist. And also, since right now we are targeting to the student community, so we are basically taking it to many colleges. And to colleges also, we then will give a complete report in terms of how has the overall well-being of the institute been. In what state of mental well-being are we in, the entire physical tracker, fitness tracker, sleep tracker, all that important goal data will also be shared with the institutes. And the institutes can then onboard psychologists also if they want, some, therapists that are going to be placed in the college. So we have really some nice features that we're still building into this, but I would really love and request if, all of you can go and download this amazing app and spread the good word around. It's already available. If Lehar can share, Lehar has already shared his details. So do download, do check out the app. Some good work is happening. By the end of this month, it's going to be in a much more mature shape than what it is right now. But yes, I thought let me just put it out there in the forum, and you guys can start using it. So I think with that we come to the end of the session. Lehar and I would be happy to take on any questions that you guys have and tell you more about our product.
So before maybe we delve into that, maybe I can take you through the internship projects.
Oh, also? Yes.
Okay. So since we are an organization which focuses on wellness, and I see a lot of potential here, a lot of students who are in the field of psychology from different backgrounds. So we also have different number of projects that we're working on. So as you know, we have to create different norms for one scale. So for Joycare, we currently have built the student version, but we're in the process of data collection and everything. So we're looking for individuals who might be interested in working with us on standardizing this scale for the students. We're also developing another scale called for emotional quotient, which will be available on Wellm and the Happy Minds app. We're also doing scale standardization for the lighter version of the Joycare. We already have a standardized version for the advanced version, but we're standardizing it for the lighter version as well. Also, we're doing a lot of research paper writing. So, and we will be publishing these papers. Along with that, we're also doing some correlational studies. We already have done on self-care and Joycare. Now we're looking to do between self-care, fit care, and Joycare. We're also looking to do studies between psychological well-being and academic performance. Other than that, we're also trying to build in an anxiety checklist. So this is not a very a scale per se, but a short checklist that we'll be using on the app, or any mental health practitioner can use just to see at what level of anxiety a person may be. And we're also developing through a survey with Happy Minds, and develop an understanding of student needs on mental well-being. Shivi, would you like to talk about this one?
We would also love to have some of you working for the GTM, which is go-to-market strategy, for the Happy Minds app. Now, this of course will have some features such as people participating in the social media, so content writing, bringing out blogs, handling LinkedIn, approaching different colleges so that they start using this app. So a lot of good features will be basically built here, connecting with the right influencers, student bodies, organization. So all that interesting marketing stuff is also something that we would love some of you to join us in.
So if anyone's also from the tech background, so since we are a tech-based startup, So we would also encourage, if any of you are interested, to get in touch with us. And of course, we have a lot of academic writing and research work that we'd be doing. So in case anyone's interested, you can write to us. And also, I think I'll request Khushbu to share a PDF with a lot more information on this, and you can connect with us from there on. And thank you. And this is where you can connect with us if you would like to write to us. Okay, I think now we're open for questions. Anyone? So if you're hesitant in asking questions, you can post them on the chat also.
Thank you, Ms. Shivi and Ms. Lehar. It was indeed very informative. We will now proceed towards answering your queries. Please post your questions in the chat box. All your doubts will be answered accordingly.
I'm sharing our email IDs also in case anyone would like to write to us. So I think Isha has asked, is there any subscription we have to take for this app? Currently, this app is for free, but we do have a premium version, but you can definitely subscribe to this app for free. There is an upgrade available if you're interested in it. Would anyone else like to ask anything? Shivi,
Okay.
I think you
Mali,
can.
how did you come up with the idea of this startup and what are the challenges you faced? To be very honest, I think, as I told you, this is a pandemic baby. While everybody was going through so much stress in life, not just physically, but emotionally also, we wanted to bring to table a very comprehensive, solution. And also, let me tell you, my co-founder, R.S. Rakesh Sarin, he's epitome of good health, wellness. He is so passionate about this, and actually, he's the one who thought of this idea. He's also been a diabetic since over 3 decades now. And while the doctor had told him that, now you have to get on to insulin, there's no other way out. He said, no, nothing doing, I have to heal myself. This is something that I'm not going to accept. So he actually had gone to a center, Lifeline Wellness, wherein they practice this natural laws of wellness, right? And he was able to, within a span of 3 weeks, he was able to get off all his medications by just following these natural laws of wellness. So this is not something that we just thought of, but this is time tested. This has been going on. This has been scientifically proven that if you correct your lifestyle, if you start eating healthy, start thinking healthy, do your exercise, follow a regime, follow a ritual, which we also sort of really request everyone to sort of have in life. Rituals are very, very important. Starting your day with a good ritual sets the right tone for the entire day, and I think most of you would agree. So keeping all that in mind, taking that idea also, and with RS experiencing it on his own, we thought this is something that everybody should be aware of, and this is an offering that we really wanted to bring to India as well. Nowadays, if you see yoga and so many other things from India, people have taken abroad, and they are benefiting out of it. It was time that we basically bring these natural laws of wellness, the power of these natural laws of wellness back in India as well, tell people about it so they also start practicing it. And of course, there's no other, better platform than technology. It took us, I would say we are still developing. Technology is one thing where you can never say that, ho gaya mera, boss, I've developed the best app ever and technology, this is done. You keep further developing it. We are still, every time we look at it, we look at the entire model, we see, hey, there's one thing more that we want to give to people to make it more acceptable, to make it more sustainable. So there are many challenges. we are of course catering to corporates. Though corporates, would like to cater to their well-being of their employees, but in India, sadly, currently it's still limited to doing your blood analysis, or for the higher ranks, they do a complete, that body check. But what happens to, say for example, to the blue-collar employees? Where are they going? Don't they need help? And for us, every individual is important. So, that change, in the concept of health, to start not just reacting to health, but to have preventive care right from the start given to all your employees. That's a shift that we are still sort of struggling with. But I think with the pandemic, people are becoming more and more aware that yes, they need to give importance to their health and well-being, and every employee counts. So organizations are now getting into the spreading the culture of wellness within. So I think we're in the right direction. What is the eligibility and skill requirements for the internship program?
I think some basic academic writing, if you have the experience. We're just inviting anyone who is interested and motivated to do it. And the minimum eligibility is that, you're in first year of college. So we'll invite you to share your resumes. You can share it on my email ID. And once the selection process is through, we'll send you an email. And I think the minimum requirement is that you have the time to work with us for at least 2 months. It can be during your college break, which is during the summer, or it can be during the winter, or you can work side by side. So we're flexible about that.
And I think the passion in any startup,
Yes.
you cannot do without passion. You really need
Yes.
to be passionate about this whole idea of holistic wellness. So that's one thing. All of us are very passionate about whatever field, stream, or the work that we are handling. So I would say passion as well.
Okay, so before you take the other question, I would like to say something. So since we were already, so firstly, again, welcome both of you. It was really a pleasure to, hear you and know about the entire Wellness Mandala and what you're doing. So we were really, already full with the meet link. So we had to do a screen share, and there are another 45 people who are watching you on another meet link as well. So they are also posting some questions. So one of the students is saying, what if maintaining a routine, like you said right now, is more of a struggle and ultimately it invokes anxiety rather than helping us? So this is another question which is being asked on the other meet link.
Okay. Should I? Let?
Yeah, go ahead, Shivi, go ahead.
Now, I just have my 2 cents to say. Routine, I'm not sure. See, it's a very individualistic thing as well. For me, routine works because I know my affirmations are very important for me to handle me and take me throughout the day. Everybody faces anxiety. We are speaking to 100+ people. What is it that keeps me grounded? What is it that makes me feel that I can nail this and I can do this? Are actually my routines that I do in the morning. I cannot do without going to my balcony and doing whether it's for 15 minutes or whether it's for half an hour. I'm not going to be very stringent on मेरे को 1 घंटा exercise करनी है. But boss, मेरे को 15-20 minutes अपने आप को देने हैं to center myself. So I don't think, at least to an individual, it causes anxiety. Also, by the way we set our rituals, we actually keep it flexible. So we have rituals such as, rise, breath and water, nourishment. So in rise, we actually have, say, for example, 6-7 things. Out of that 6-7 things, it's not important for you to follow all 6. You might skip 2 because, of course, everybody has a hectic lifestyle. I'm a mother of 2. I know how important and how difficult it is to follow routine. While I am in the balcony doing my exercises, one son comes and the other one comes and all, and they are my priority, For a mother or for anybody, you would first cater to the need of your child. You come last, So I do that. But I also know it's very important for me, out of these 6 things, I at least do these 3 things. It gives me peace. It gives me something to get going throughout the day. So that's on us. So we keep it very flexible. When we're speaking to the clients also, we tell them, these are the 6 things. You tell us, according to your lifestyle, what is it that you think you can follow? And then you follow through those 4 things and you be flexible with it. But routine, we feel it's very important to give you a good start of the day. Lehar,
And
would you like to add?
yes, I just want to say that it's not something very extensive. So these are very small things that you can stack up, one on top of each other. So say for instance, just practicing deep breathing. So anytime, if you know that you're going to do this, anytime I drink water, I remind myself, you know what, I'll just sit for 2 minutes and do a deep breathing exercise. So we're building stacking habits on top of each other, which are super easy to follow. And of course, these are personalized when you get in touch with your, either a doctor or an emotional coach. So it's developed according to your needs and what all you can follow. So there is no hard and fast rule that, yehi karna hai. We'll help you build small habits that are easily you can follow easily.
Will take the anxiety off you. Like I have one habit, I take my water bottle everywhere I go. That's one habit that I have. I must have finished like 2 glasses of water. But I also know that's a ritual and that's a habit that I've sort of followed and maintained, which not only helps me in my physical but mentally. I mean, you all know about the grounding technique 5 4 3 2 1. This is a part of it. It's keeping me grounded. So, but it's a very interesting way we form our rituals, and I would love you guys to experience it also, the way we do it. If you join the program, I think you'll be exposed to all these things, how we sort of come about developing these programs.
Also, I don't know if you guys know that Nupur ma'am has also been a really huge part of development of the Joycare scale. She was one of the experts who helped us review the items and the operational definitions. So thank you, ma'am, for sharing your expertise with us and also inviting us for this session. We really appreciate that.
No, thank you so much, Lehar. I think the common link here with both of us is Dr. Chadda only, and he's a great motivating factor also. And like you mentioned right now, having some habits. So I think just like to help my own students, what they were referring here, we often keep our habits in comparison to what others are doing. So if my friends are waking up early, I'll have that high bar set for myself that I have to wake up early, because that's like a good habit. But I think the basic habit we can actually make is according to our own convenience. Like probably not getting the up at 6 might not be something which I can do, but I probably be happy with getting up before maybe 9 o'clock or whatever time you set in. So I think we should start with our own self is what our students should actually focus on, rather than having a comparative habit set up, which obviously will lead to anxiety. So we have another question there. So Yuvanshi is asking, what if eating healthy doesn't make a person happy? Like if a person doesn't like eating greens, then they wouldn't enjoy the food, which will probably make them grumpy or unsatisfied. So I think they're referring to their own personal self right now. They actually should log on to Wellness Mandala for details. But if you can just answer that for them right now.
Lehar, should I? Are you doing it?
Yeah, please go ahead.
See, we always talk about never be an extremist in life. You need to find the right balance. If you think, greens are something which gives you no happiness in life, we are not asking you ki you have to eat greens in every meal of yours. No, we are talking about a balanced life. So you please eat your junk if that gives you happiness, but you have to balance. If we are talking about health, wellness, I mean, there is no shying away from the fact that greens is something, vegetables are something that are extremely important. Raw vegetables also, by the way, are extremely important for your gut system. So it's all about finding the right balance. And while you're having it, this is what I tell my child also, when no children like to eat greens nowadays. Everybody wants to eat burgers and mama mujhe pizza do ye do every day. As kids, we can still, as mothers, we can still do it because I make homemade pizza. In their sauce only, I mix all red, yellow, bell pepper, so they're not able to make out the difference. Unfortunately, for adults, we can't do as much. But yet, when you're eating something, I would say, please put your good energies to it. What you eat, even when you're drinking water, your energy also plays a big role here. So when you're eating something, please don't eat with the thought of ye kya hai, ye mujhe kyun khana hai. Eat with the thought of good intention, and this is good for my body. If you these are auto suggestions that you give yourself, right? You tell yourself that no, this is something which is good for me, and as a reward, when you've eaten this, please reward yourself. At the end of the day, have that dark chocolate or have that one piece of something which gives you sense of contentment that, I deserve this. Like for me, I have gone off gluten for my own health reasons. I have been battling, PCOD, endometriosis, God knows what not. I'm a living example of this. I'm also a living example of a foodie. Looking at me, a lot of my friends cannot make out my love and passion for food, but I do eat. And I knew it. For my endometriosis is something that I have to go off is wheat, sugar, and these are the love of my life. So it was very difficult for me to make that shift in the mind. I only have to eat healthy. I have to do this. And when I was talking to my nutritionist, I said, this is the most difficult thing I've ever done. I start my day with bread. I start my day with this, and now you're telling me no bread, no atta, no these good things. You've taken all the good things away. He's like, listen, please tell yourself that while you're doing all this healthy thing to yourself, in the night, please enjoy your 2 pieces of dark chocolate. And I so look forward to that night. It's 10 o'clock. I have done everything good for my body. And now this is something which will increase my serotonin level, and I'll have those 2 pieces of dark chocolate. So reward yourself. But please maintain the right balance is what I would say. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, I think there are 2-3 questions here also in the chat box, if you can take those too.
So someone's saying, what if we are trying to eat healthy, but there is no effect on my body? So I think the effect on your body is less visible on the outside. And I think the effect on your, so this is one thing good thing about wellm, that so the impact on your body is assessed by scans, like the vital scan and the Hemocare. So a lot of times visibly, while we may not see a weight change as such, but internally our organs benefit quite a bit with a nutritious diet. So one way to track that, whether there is an effect or not, I think we also offer a pre and post assessment. So one at the starting of the program and one towards the end of the program. So you're able to actually see, is there any difference? And then, we can also figure out what's working, what's not working. So I hope that answered your question.
I also feel good health is not about just what meets the eye, right? It's
Yes.
how you feel from within. And you will actually start feeling energetic, more focused, and it'll get you throughout the day. So don't just see whether physically it's impacting me, but mentally or within your system, is it really bringing good results? Is also something that everybody should focus on, because every body type is different.
So you, in resume, whatever basic activities you've done previously, I think a normal resume that you share, your education, the kind of projects that you may have worked on, your experience, interests, and are the internships paid? So as of now, they're not paid because we're also giving experience letters, and we're also helping individuals learn a lot in terms of academics. So we will be providing experience letters. But as of now, we're not a paid internship. But also, I just want to emphasize that it's flexible. So we do understand that a lot of students have a lot of work and other things they may be working on. So we will provide the flexibility on our end.
So I have another question. Like, you mentioned that you incorporated tech also in the field of psychology. So how difficult do you think was it to really blend in something which is, human related, where you have to like be in touch with them at all times and, contact them, to actually, connect it with the AI part, like artificial intelligence. Like you said, a report is generated in 3 minutes. I mean, that's huge. That's actually something that will change the way psychometricians are working in future. So how difficult was it, and how do you ensure its standardization and its accuracy?
Right. I think that's a really good question. What I want to say is that I think when we build in manuals, certain kind of scores have certain kind of responses or understanding that is already given in the manual. Now, what we have done is that once an individual gets X score on X domain, instead of having to refer to the manual and then write it in the report, we built in a system where we created an entire matrix where we explained to the tech that if a person gets this score, then this is the result they will be getting. So to each score attained, there is one result that has already been created for that kind of profile. So that way, the process of, where we look at the score, calculate, and then, you create raw score into standard score. So that process we have already assigned, and the AI, so our tech platform helps us do that. And we conducted this assessment on 540 individuals. And through that, we were according to the norms that we got, so under 32 and over 32. That's where we tried to, maintain the sanctity actually of a psychometric assessment. I hope that answers your question.
Yes. Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. I think
Thank you.
probably this would be something that our students would be, wondering. So that's why I thought I'll ask on their behalf if they're not feeling really comfortable to ask
Comfortable.
anything.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
that was a good question. Thank you. Okay, someone else is asked how to reduce screen time. Well, I think it might be nice if you connect with one of our coaches to figure out, because I think some of the screen time is unavoidable. But I think there are definitely some practices that we can do every day to help us get off the screen. So if you're tired of hearing your mobile pinging, I think a lot of mobile phones also have that option where you can set your time. So these are some, little practices that you can do. Say, for instance, on my phone, I have a night mode. So every time it's 12, my screen just goes off. My notifications are no longer visible to me. So that's where I feel a little more restful. I'm not looking at my phone constantly that, oh my God, ab kya hai? Instagram, Facebook, WhatsApp. So I think these are some of the practices that we'll have to put in place. And I think a part of self-care, which is self-discipline, really comes into play here. So it might be interesting to see, if you log on to our platform, what else we have to offer.
I think there's another thing which probably I would like to add, which is a practice that I have started doing. So for me, fitness, exercise, I have to be on, like, it's important for me to get me going. I don't like sitting in one place. And of course, with the entire, I mean, everybody who knows me also, even if I'm at work, office, and if I have to talk to somebody, I'll actually walk up and talk to that someone rather than pinging and messaging, because I like it. I like movement. I like to go. So what I've started doing now is, even while I'm having my meetings, instead of sitting in front of the screen and having my meetings, I actually take my phone along, wear my headphones, and I walk. And I feel better ideas come through, because I'm out in the open. I'm not sitting in one damn room. I'm walking. I'm out in the nature. Nature really, brings in that energy. So try it if you have something which do not require you to look at the screen. And if you can keep it in your pocket, if you're hearing something, just walk and talk, is what I would suggest.
I think this might also help with what someone else is saying, that, screen hour is touching 10 hours and it's overwhelming for eyesight and headaches. So I think if you're walking, when you're connected, because you can still listen to the class and pay attention, you might sit in the sun if you have access to a balcony, or sit around a window. And I think that might actually help. And have a bottle of water with you, because, well, I think it's not something that you can avoid, because I think a lot of us are struggling with the screen time. But some little practices that you can do to help yourself in that time, like Shivi has already mentioned.
So I think that question was ideally for us as teachers, because it's we who are taking their classes online, and it's, we understand, like, even as teachers we understand that it is overwhelming, that many hours of like, if I have to give a class, probably in a day I might have two classes, and it's 2 hours for me. But for students, it's like a full day packed of classes back to back. They have to make their assessments, everything online. So it is overwhelming for them, but that's what even we have been trying to tell them. And I think that's a very good point that even both of you mentioned, that walk and talk, or maybe sit outside, or maybe like choose your place accordingly, and change your places also. It gets very monotonous if he's sitting at the same place again and again. And one thing what I have probably changed in my routine after I became online, online mode, was that I do not sit with my laptop on my bed. That's like a ritual I've made. I have my laptop on my desk. And probably we don't all have desks also, even that I understand, but a table is fine, like a good to go. So I make sure that I'm not sitting on my bed, because if I'm sitting on my bed and teaching also, it will be very lethargic, and eventually I will get tired, my back will start to hurt and everything. So I think that's just steps that we can build on to, because that's the new lifestyle we're all getting into. So, if you could just help us also as teachers, what else they could do, because we get where they're coming from entirely, but there's nothing we can also do for them.
Yes, ma'am. I think it's time to just start feeling compassionate about each other. We are all going through this. I see my little kids of just 6-year-olds sitting for 6 hours in front of the screen. It breaks my heart. And literally, I tell them, ki, when it's time and teacher is talking about something, you're more than welcome. Just switch off the screen and just listen. Don't have to look at the screen, just listen. You're in the room. I don't make it like, because they're kids, right? So it's not important that only when you're sitting in front of the computer is when your ears are open and you are paying attention. You can be in the room, you do your thing, but just pay attention. Your ears should be to your teachers. But honestly speaking, we find it so difficult to sit at one place for so many hours. How do we expect anybody else to do that? But I really feel for teachers also. Every time I talk to their class teachers, I say, ma'am, I really feel for, what you guys are doing. You're putting in so much effort, but it's a new norm. Unfortunately, I think we all have to find our own comfort zone area. How do we deal with it? And hopefully all this should be behind us. Endemic needs to come. But yes, it's a struggle for all.
Yeah.
So there is another question where someone says every individual has their own level of progress and how they view and feel healthy. So is giving a quantitative measure to our progress accurate? Because no one can be consistent all the time. I think that's fair enough. But if you see that, how do we then, understand where we are and how well we're doing? What then becomes the point of any health assessment? If you're taking blood test, why are you taking blood test? If you're doing any, mental health assessment, why are you doing that? So the idea of quantitative measure is that it helps us just understand where a person is and where they might be and where the areas we can help. So these are not hard and fast numbers as such that we are imposing. So just want to say that it's only there to help us understand where a person is and where they might need help. And of course, it's difficult to be consistent all the time. But I think even with practicing little things on and off, I think our health improves. So even if I'm not exercising, say, every day, but if I exercise, say, for 3 days in a week from 0 to 3, that's still an improvement. So I think it also helps us understand where we are and where we need to be. And if we've made progress, then we should also be able to see the progress. So we're not saying that you have to exercise 7 days, but from 0 to, if you've moved to 3, that's also pretty good. So I hope that answers your query.
Any other questions?
So Unnati wrote something on the chat. Thank you, Unnati, for writing that. We appreciate your comment.
Thank you, ma'am, for answering our questions. It was really helpful and really informative.
Thank you very much, Mansi. But thank you so much, Nupur ma'am and Khushbu, for having us here, and even Dr. Ranjana Singh, and all the faculty members for having us here, and to the students for giving us a good listening ear, and for all the questions that you posted. We really hope that we were able to answer them to the best of our capability. And we are now really looking forward to having some of you join our team and further the cause of spreading holistic wellness, emotional wellness, physical wellness amongst people. We're really looking forward to having you join the wellm. Plus, of course, the interesting app that has come, which is Happy Minds. So working, in both aspects. So do drop in your resume. I think could be really the right person to steer this thing. And we are always here. You already have our email IDs. So we are here to answer any questions that you have. Do download the app Happy Minds. Lehar has shared the link, and please do share your feedback. It's a very important and interesting phase where we are, looking at developing new features. So your feedback would really mean a lot to us. So thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Now I would like to present a vote of thanks. The institution's Innovation Council extends sincere gratitude to Ms. Shivi Sabharwal and Ms. Lehar Malhotra for delivering this session today and enlightening us about how the innovation in technology has helped achieve preventive care. Thank you for taking out time from your busy schedule and joining us. We are grateful for the learning experience that you provided. We extend our deepest thanks to our principal ma'am, Dr. Payal Mago, for being our pillar of support and strength. We would like to extend our heartiest thanks to all the teachers for their constant support and motivation. Last but not the least, we would like to extend our heartfelt thanks to the audience for showing your keen interest in this webinar. We hope it provides you with a great learning outcome. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you so much.
everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good weekend ahead.
Thank you, ma'am. It was really a very insightful session.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Take care. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.